hatchback time again. So update, done a little bit of stuff off camera. Update some of the stuff we did. I got our hardware, our studs for our turbo. I just got those loosely mocked up. Got some ARP bolts for our manifold, which isn't put in yet because this is just mocked up. Other than that, I've started tearing down my harness. I've obviously got a lot more to tear down, but I kind of got to a stopping point because when I took this harness out, I labeled everything because some of these connectors are the same. So unless you label it or you got a pin out or something, you won't really know where to go back. So a lot of the writing I wrote on these labels disappeared. No big deal, right? Look up a pin out, searched and searched and searched online, and I just could not really find anything. You would think one of the most popular swaps besides an LS, there would be a plethora of wiring schematics and everything. Really not the case. Maybe I just wasn't looking in the right place, but hey, whatever. So I found something really cool on eBay, and there's a factory troubleshooting, just an all electrical book for RSX-02, which is what this engine came out of. And this is a 300-something page book of nothing but wiring diagrams, connectors, pictures of every single connector on the car, what it does, wiring harness, pinouts, everything. Really cool, really cool. I got a great deal on it. It was brand new. Everything's still wrapped up. Anyway, got that. So now the things I wasn't so sure about, I know. So yeah, I'm getting back started. One of the things was I had to change our crank sensor connector from that Z7 one back to a A2 one, and this is a generic one, so obviously the colors are different. I wasn't sure exactly where to go because the pin out is different from the 2 inches, so we have to wire that in. I was waiting on that. A few other things I wasn't really sure about. Also, so basically I'm tearing this whole harness down. I mean, everything down to the bare wires. I didn't do this originally, and I found a few things I'm not too happy about that I'm going to fix. You can see originally this was kind of how I did a little bit of sheath in, and it looked okay, but I didn't spend a lot of time on it. So this time I'm going to go through, I'm going to strip the whole thing down. I'm going to de-pin all the connectors so I can get everything sheathed up nice, heat shrink, everything, make everything look good. Keep it as intact as possible. Take out the stuff I don't need. I want to completely strip it down and inspect it. I'm going to clean everything and just try to make it look as good as I can. That's all I'm shooting for. Just make it look good, get rid of this old crusty loom and all this nasty sticky electrical tape that they came with. So yeah, I started on a few things, so I'll show you. Went ahead and done the starter and the alternator harness here because I knew where everything went. See right here, I gotta strip all this out. That's all this old stuff, and I cleaned all the connectors while I was at it. That's what we're gonna do. I want to start on this side. This is pretty much where the harness ends. I like to start here and then work my way out. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have to connect our get our new connector wired in. Then I'll start individually sheathing all this stuff, and there's a few things I wasn't too happy about. Some wires that were close to breaking. You can see I repaired this one previously when I first done it. This harness came out of a wrecked car, so I'm gonna go ahead and repair some of these wires, and then we'll start starting getting some stuff loomed up. So I'm gonna show you guys how to de-pin these connectors. All the different styles. A lot of them come apart different. So if you're not sure, you have to look at it. Just try and figure it out. This manual I've got actually shows you exactly how to disconnect a lot of these. But anyway, so first you find this little cutout here. Let's pop that out. There we go. Now we can remove this piece. I'm looking here, maybe you can see this. I'm really not sure. I don't know if it's going to focus that close, but basically there'll be a tab in here. You just a little pick. There'll be a tab in here that you just pry while you're pulling the wire out the back. Oops. There we go. Yeah, it's just that easy. Wish this would focus a little better, but see there's a little plastic piece in here. Just pry down on it. That'll release that lock from inside that terminal. Just that easy. Then you can come through, loom your harness up, put everything together nice, put your connector back in. Pretty much that simple. Okay, so I fixed a few things here. Got our new crank position sensor wired in. Everything's soldered up, heat shrinked in. Fixed some issues on this one. Had some issues on this one, so. And this one goes here. I just got the connector off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and start kind of looming some of this stuff. So what I'm gonna do is, so this is an individual harness here. This one's individual going here, this one's individual going here. So what I'll do is, and got the individual one going back here to the VTEC stuff. So I'll do this all individual. I'll do this one up to where it kind of meets, do this one up to where it kind of meets. Then we'll do a big one where everything kind of meets and run that one back here. If that makes sense. So you'll see. We're going to start here and work our way down. So the first thing I like to do is pick the appropriate size expandable sleeve. Like I said, first you got to take a connector off. Put them down the sleeve. Work it down the wire harness. You want to get something that's big enough, but not something too big that it's not gonna shrink enough. So I'm gonna try this one. Just see if it. I think this one's gonna work. So. Obviously, I could have put this on first before I put the sheathing on, but this is just how I like to do it. Work it down there, twist it, works pretty good. So, get it till it gets, the harness is a little thicker up here because this is where I had to solder these wires to go. So yeah, that's good there. Then again, I'm gonna cut. Got some excess here. Put the next piece on. Cover this in. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and slide our connector on. So you can heat shrink this and then put the connector on, but I wanted to do it before because sometimes it'll kind of make it hard to put your wires in. So put these back in, orient them correctly so they lock into place. Both are locked in. Okay. I'll put our little retainer in here. Pop that in. Now we'll go ahead and get that shrunk down on both ends. Okay, let's take a look at it. So it's a good start to our harness. Looks nice and clean. Heat shrink's just gonna secure that. I just thought about something. I should have left my connector off because once I get all these individual ones done and I slide my big piece over this main bundle, I'm gonna need all these connectors off. But that's just a mistake I made not thinking. Been working on the harness some here and there. Let's get a little update on it. I started on this side, so let's look at this side first. So we got our crank sensor connector wired in, all this loomed up. Each piece, like I said, I wrapped them individually. Then I compiled them all here in this larger one. So what I did was the wiring for the coil packs were also in this bundle originally, and I couldn't really come up with a way to make that look clean, keeping it all together. So I actually separated it. So now the wiring going to these sensors at the rear is in its own harness, and all of our coils are actually all individual. Then they go back into the main harness. This number one coil, the wiring was really long on it. It had a lot of excessive wire that went all the way back down here and looped around, so I had to shorten that. That's pretty much where I'm at with it right now. I've just got this portion done. So I'm going to start moving along here. I've got most of this stripped down. One thing I'm not too fond of is this deal. So I'm going to be eliminating that. So first we're going to get the pins out or cut it, one or the other. So essentially what we're going to be doing is just connecting all the wires at the same color. There's like four different colors here. So those are just all, this will get cut off, they'll all get connected together, and they'll get soldered and heat shrink together. And we'll get rid of this. Then we'll move on from there. So we're just working our way down. We'll move on from there. Then we'll start sorting this mess, this gone over here out. I've got a few plugs marked to delete. This one's for, I think, the rear backup lights for the rear, and this is something dealing with some of the emission crap that we don't have anymore. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep moving along with it. I haven't been videoing much because it gets pretty repetitive, and you know, I don't want to make a mistake. So I'm just kind of focusing on it and trying to make sure I do everything, get all the wires in the right spots. That way I don't have any issues when we go to fire this thing up. But I'll go ahead and kind of show you how I'm gonna do this, deleting this block here. I'm really not even sure how I'm gonna do it, but we'll get started on that. Then I'll kind of show you how we do that. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so here's the first bundle. Just the yellow and black wires. Connected them all, got them soldered good. Yeah, not going anywhere. So now we'll heat shrink this. And we will, so that cool down a little bit. Okay, heat shrink this section. Then we'll move on to the next. You can tell I've got them all just got them all connected by color here, sorted out. That way I don't miss anything. I'll go ahead and go ahead and get that one shrunk down. Move on to the next one. Yeah, so I feel pretty good about that. Should be a nice secure connection there. So we'll move on to the next one. And I left a little slack in it, so I think that's gonna be just right. move on to the next one. Just got 2 more. Okay, a little update on the progress. Some footage got lost, so I'm gonna catch you up here. But I got our block deleted out of here. Just cut it off, soldered all this back together. So now I'm gonna start back working my way forward here. And starting to clean all this stuff up. Also, I got a few things. I had to order a new connector for this because it was damaged. And this is getting deleted. So we're gonna make sure I'm gonna completely take this out of the harness. Got something else here that's gonna be deleted. This is something that was dealing with the emissions. So this is gonna be completely deleted out as well. So the next thing we're gonna do is pretty well determine how this is gonna run here. And start figuring out how we're gonna do the rest of the harness. That way, in case, you know, some of this, there's a lot of slack on some of these, so I can shorten some of this stuff up here. Just wanna make everything as nice and neat. Okay, so I've got, except for this, I gotta do this, but I've got everything pulled out of the harness that I didn't need. So just got it kind of loosely mocked up where it's gonna run. Okay, so I'm moving on to this bundle here. Okay, so I like how this one runs. I'm fine with that. I could even run it here, either way. But I'm fine with it running like this. Because I've got these 2 over here. So as you can tell, this is at a good length. But these 2 are really long, both of these. So I'd like to cut these down so that they would run about the same length as this one. That way I can kind of tie them all in here together, if that makes sense. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these wires. And I'm just going to get everything kind of mocked up to the length that I want. And then we'll get them soldered back together and start heat shrinking all this stuff. And we'll work our way back up to the main harness. We'll go from there. Once I get this tackled, then we can move on to the injector harness and the harness that goes to the starter, alternator, and so on. Okay. Get that shrunk. So I finally got my wiring harness done, and it took forever with parts now, waiting on connectors and stuff like that. Just ate up a lot of time. Other than that, I was really just taking my time, making sure I didn't make any mistakes on it. This video probably kind of sucked because I don't feel like I've shown a whole lot of the process, but it was just tedious, time consuming, and I was really just trying to focus on what I was doing. That way I didn't make any mistakes on it. But I'll show it to you. I'll show you what it's like, show you things I like about it, things I don't like about it, and where we go from. So here's the engine. So we'll start where I started on it, which is on this side. And we shortened some wires and changed a lot of stuff up just to try and make it cleaner. Just loomed everything up. We had to put the new crank sensor pigtail on here. For the A2, we had the Z7 one on. Got that done. Just kind of merged everything up through here. And we separated our coil packs. Coil packs were in this bundle as well. We separated that. Came down here. So this is the part, it's not my favorite. It doesn't look bad, but it's not really what I wanted to do. Where all this stuff, since I've done like this side, the harness separate, this side separate, this side separate, everything kind of merged. It was hard to get everything to kind of look nice the way I done it. And to be able to get heat shrink and everything on there with all these connectors already on. Because a lot of the stuff I kind of had to pin while I was going. I had to change. A lot of these pigtails are aftermarket because the factory ones are damaged. So the wires are, see, like non-color coordinated. So if I would leave everything apart, I wouldn't really know where they went once I loomed it all up. So I kind of would have to pin them, then kind of loom them, and whatever. It's done. Look at this side here. Thing looks pretty good. Some stuff I left some slack on, but once I get everything together, we can tie everything up the way it goes. I had to put new connectors on the fuel injectors. I couldn't really loom this the way I wanted to because I was having trouble getting all these pins out of here because they were really small. I ordered some tools and I couldn't get all of them out. I just got tired of messing with it. So I said, it ain't the best looking thing, but it looks better than it did, and fixed a lot of problems with it. It's better than what I had, and should work pretty good. Hindsight, you know, some aftermarket harnesses are pretty decent deals, and probably not really a bad deal. You know, these harnesses are, you know, this one's 20 years old. So like I said, there's a lot of stuff I had to fix on it. So in the time I got into it, it wouldn't really be a bad deal just to buy a new harness. If I already had it, I want to fix what I got. So, and I'm cheap. So where we at? This is it. This is what I was waiting on, was getting the harness done. So this is done. Now I can put the engine back in the car. Another thing I was waiting on, well, I'm still waiting on, is the wastegate for the exhaust. So I'll show you here, we don't have one. So we need the wastegate, which I searched, and man, this is just like any other part stuff. It's just hard to find. That wastegate I ordered is on back order. It might come this month, might come next month, I don't know. So at least now we're at the point where we can get the engine in the car. So that's gonna be my next step. I'm gonna put the engine transmission back in the car. And at that point, we'll be back to waiting on the wastegate. Once the wastegate comes in, we'll have to build our exhaust. And we'll have to figure out I've been thinking about what to do with the intercooler setup. That'll pretty much be it. I have to get some bigger injectors, and yeah, pretty much be squared away, running wise. So like I said, it's still gonna be some time, but making progress. So anyway, this is it for this one. Like I said, this video probably sucked, but it's just one part of the mission here. So anyway, check us out on the next one. Hopefully it won't be as long. We'll go ahead and get all this stuff thrown back in there, start mocking up the turbo system again and see how everything's gonna lay out. And yeah, just stick with me. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one.